Hi, and welcome to the Neurodivergent Show with me, Imo Folami. Thank you for taking out time from your Friday evening to join us here. This is the Neurodivergent Show where we discuss all things autism, all things ADHD, all things OCD, and all things dyslexia. We're so thankful. Welcome, one, welcome all. Thank you once again. Some people are just tuning into the show for the first time and they're wondering, neurodivergence, I haven't heard that term before. What's it about? Neurodivergence is the term we use to describe those that are different. Difference in what way? Okay. When people are born, usually would have neurotypical people and will have neurodivergent people. Neurodivergent people are people whose brains are not, it's wired somewhat the way a typical human brain is, but different. And this is not just a personality, oh, we're all different. This is a difference, like obvious difference. I use my husband sometimes as an example of a neurodivergent person. Um, when we first got married, I used to think it was weird because he always wanted to clean. A neurotypical person may want to clean, but may not want to clean and clean and clean and clean. That is a neurodivergent person. A neurodivergent person is an autistic person. Autistic people usually would have challenges with things like social communication. They may have challenges with making eye contact. Some of them may walk on their tippy toes. You see them, some of them you have them using the big headphones at the park. I'm sure some of you have met some autistic people that have the big headphones. Yeah, just because of they can get overwhelmed with sounds and winds, and also that's like a protective measure for them. But that is neurodivergence. That's someone who's different, a different person. Autism within the African community is a different ballgame entirely, because usually with autism you have the stigma, you have the rejection, the general one. But I've come to realize that in the African community, it is even more intense. Why do people fear autism? They fear autism because there is no explanation. Like, we don't know what causes it, it doesn't have a cure. Autism is a spectrum. And so in trying to understand it, I can see why science and scientists even run into a problem. I'm a registered nurse, and sometimes it looks like I've understood it to a certain extent, and then I see another autistic person. I'm like, is this still autism? And then I see another autistic person, and I'm like, is this still autism? Autism is a spectrum, a broad one at that. And so people tend to show different traits. And that's one of the scary parts of autism. So we've talked about autism as as this unknown. Someone says, or someone has said, that autism is every parent's worst nightmare. And I get that because it is the truth. If you do not have a kid that is autistic, or you do not have a family member or friend or know someone who's autistic, you may not understand it. Autistic people have their strengths. Many of them are extremely brilliant. Many of them they're just geniuses. They know things, they read, they can do mathematics, complex mathematics in their head in seconds. They can do all these things, but autism also comes with the struggles. It comes with the challenges. It comes with the unknown, like we talked about. It comes with wondering if your child will make it. I've had many autistic people tell me, what will happen to my autistic kid if I die? Who is going to take care of him? We will care for her. Autism is a scary place to be. It is. And we're going to go more and we're going to talk a lot about autism tonight. But if you're a parent out there and you're wondering, is there hope for me? Is there hope for my autistic kid? Is there hope for my autistic grandkid or nephew or niece? I'm going to share a video with you now, and I hope this brings you some kind of hope, because with autism, there is hope.
Welcome to America's Got Talent. What's your name?
I'm Cody.
Hi, Cody.
I'm Cody Lee.
How old are you?
I am 22 years old.
Yeah.
Who are you, miss? Who are you?
I'm Mom.
Oh,
I'm
hi,
Tina
Mom.
Lee.
Hi, Tina. How are you? What are you going to do here for us today?
I'm gonna sing a song for you on the piano.
I love it. Tina, tell us a little bit about Cody.
Cody is blind and autistic.
Wow.
We found out that he loved music really early on. He listened and his eyes just went huge. And he started singing. And that's when I was in tears, because that's when I realized, oh my gosh, he's an entertainer. So, yeah. Go on, Cody. Go on. This is your time, okay? There's gonna be like 20 film cameras on you. Ready?
Yeah.
Go. Boom.
I've been to so many places in my life and time. I've sung a lot of songs, and I made some bad rhymes. I've acted out my life in stages, 10,000 people watching, yeah. We're alone now, and I'm singing this song to you. I love you in a place, oh, there's no space or time. I love you from my life. You're a friend of mine. But when my life is over, remember we're together. We're alone now, and I'm singing this song to you. And I'm singing this song to you. There goes my heart beating, 'cause you are the reason
Yes!
I'm losing my sleep.
Yes!
Please come.
I'm a new judge this season, and I'm also a new mom this year. And
Congratulations.
it's the toughest job I've ever had and the most rewarding job I've ever had. You just want to give your kids the moon, the stars, and the rainbows. And tonight, I'm gonna give you something special.
Climb every mountain and swim every ocean just to be with you. You are the
Cody Lee, you have got the golden buzzer from Gabrielle Union. You will be going all the way to the live shows in Hollywood.
Okay,
What's
that's
your name?
totally, ladies and gentlemen. If you're a parent of an autistic kid and you're wondering if your kid is ever going to make it, your kid will. Or there is a possibility that your kid will. I know it's a world that has not been set up for autistics, but Cody brings hope. Okay, he brings hope. And I hope you can find hope in that today and draw inspiration from that today and not discard your autistic kid, because there is hope. There is hope. There is hope. There is hope. Okay, guys, this is the Neurodivergent Show. I'm sorry I got all teary. I am not alone today. I have someone that's going to be walking an autistic journey, or the journey. She has an autistic son, and she's going to come share experience, what it's been like. But before we do that, I'm going to quickly play something as a means of introduction, real quick. Let's see if we can get that. And by the way, I see your comments, guys. Thank you. I see you. I see you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. Keep the comments coming in. We will take comments at some point. Okay, just keep coming in. And if you're here and you're on the show when it's your first time, please subscribe, okay? Please make sure you subscribe. Please make sure you like. Make sure you leave a comment for us, because it helps the show tremendously. So don't say you're going to subscribe after the show. Go ahead and do that now. Go ahead and click on the like button and go ahead and leave a comment. Thank you, guys. I see you. I see you all, and we're going to take all of those comments in a little bit. Okay, let's see. We're bringing in Chibuzo very soon. Chibuzo's son, Wells. I don't know if any of you have seen her on Instagram. Chibuzo is an advocate. She's one who's all her heart is all about autism, and just not that, just raising awareness for the autism community. And we're going to be seeing a family real quick. I'm going to be introducing you to Wells.
We're family. We're close.
I don't like being wet.
Mommy.
Think for yourself.
I just told you once. I told you 1,000
That's
times.
Wells.
Practicing him having water on him, because you could go to school and the water spills on you. Are you going to start crying?
No. Actually, yes. Oh my god.
She's right here. Hold on.
I'm just gonna get my towel.
You're going to get your towel, or you're going to tough it up? Which one is it?
I'm gonna tough it up.
Okay, people, that is Wells. And to tell us more about Wells, we have the one, the only Chibuzo. Hi, Chibuzo. Welcome to the Neurodivergent Show. It's so good to have you here.
Sorry, I was muted. Can you hear me now?
All right, go on, Chibuzo. Can we meet?
Can you hear me now?
Tell us more about yourself.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Chibuzo Biose. My son Williams has autism, and I have been posting videos about him for I don't know, maybe 7 years, since he was 2 years old. Yeah, but that's because of all the pushbacks that I got from people, and coming from the African community, I got a lot of no, don't speak about him and all of that. So for me, that just made me want to even do it more, because I'm like, what is this what they're telling other parents? No, we have to talk about it. So yeah,
We
so
have to
that's why
talk
I
about it.
posted.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's basically who I am. I'm a parenting coach for autism. Yeah.
Yes, you're a super mom. I have so many super moms that come on
I
the
don't know why you
show. I
call
was
me
here the other
super
day. Shout
mom.
out to Anitra.
I don't know why you call me super mom, but
You're a
okay.
super mom. Any kid, any parent that has a neurodivergent child is a super mom, because
Okay.
don't even
All right.
raising an autistic kid and just being so open, so vulnerable, so
Mm-hmm.
you share. We're gonna get into all that. We're gonna get into all.
Okay.
But let's
All
start
right.
with this. What was life like before Wells? Like, what was your what when it comes to, like, as an African person before you had Wells? What would you think autism is? Like, if someone had told you autism, or if someone had mentioned autism, what would that have meant to you?
Well, it would have for me. I think it would have meant like, okay, a child that you would have to take care of until the day you die, and then somebody else would have to take over from you. That's what it would have meant to me. But I had never heard about autism. I'd never heard the word autism. So at that time, the only thing I knew was like Down syndrome. But coming from Nigeria, it was stigmatized, in my opinion. And so, like I said, the only thought that would have come to my mind, if someone had a child and they said my child has a disability, would be, okay, just give up your life and stay with this child and take care of this child until the day you die, and then appoint somebody to take care of that child after you're gone. So, that's just what will come to mind.
Okay, so we're going to get into the next question, but before we do that, let's just go ahead and take a few comments here. And
Okay.
Sarah says, "Love Cody, so talented. Thank you, Sarah." Emoti says, "Wow, thank you, Emoti." Anitra, hi Anitra, beautiful and amazing. Thank you, Anitra. Thank you for joining in, and thank you for being a super mom. Beyond Brace says he's so good. I agree. Cody is so good. Absolutely. Beyond Braid also said, reminded me of Cobams. We're going to talk about Cobams, Chibuzo, in a little bit.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, I know
mm-hmm.
we mentioned Cobams the other day when we were discussing. Um, oh, Anitra says, I'm ugly crying right now. Uh-oh. Um, yeah, I was too. I hope it wasn't too ugly, though. I hope you guys didn't mind. Sarah, Sarah says, I'm with you with that. We're all doing the ugly cries today. And then, okay, I have you here. By the way, this is you on Instagram. William Loves to Learn. That's you. Williams Love to Learn. Y'all, please go check out on Instagram. That's Williams Loves to Learn. Okay, so now that we have discussed life before autism, let's talk about when you just found out that your kid is autistic. Like, let's not say now that you know now. The first time you found out, or when you started sensing that your kid has autism, and then when you found out at that point, what was it like for you?
Okay, so first of all, I want to apologize because I was cleaning my tears. I was ugly crying too with everybody. I was cleaning my tears. I just grabbed the closest thing to me, and it was William's t-shirt. And I just started cleaning my face with it. So sorry guys. I forget I'm live. Okay, so when I first found out, I didn't find out because Williams is my first child, and I just moved here from Nigeria. So I didn't have many friends to hang around who had kids that were William's age. So I didn't even know what to look out for when it comes to milestones, right? For me, he was walking. Okay, so the first time I kind of felt like, that's strange, was I went to visit my brother in Houston. His wife just had a baby. So we went to visit, myself and Williams, and my brother's mother-in-law was around, and she was telling me about her granddaughter. And she told me, when she was 1 year old, she said this and she said that. At this point, Williams was over 1 year old, but he wasn't talking.
Right.
So I said to her, a 1 year old baby talks? And she said, yeah. But she didn't want to be like, oh, I know your baby doesn't talk and is over one, but but she was like, yes, some 1 year olds talk. I'm like, really? That's strange. What would a 1 year old baby be saying? Like, okay, I thought they would blab until like 3 or something. I don't know. But anyway, so
Because it was your first child.
because it was my first child, yes. So, but when we got back to California and went to see his pediatrician on a regular visit, I think it was 1 year and 6 months. She told me that he wasn't growing, he wasn't meeting his milestones, and told us to go to the regional center and get help.
What part of his milestones was he not reaching? Because it's very important that our audience, they know what, so that everyone can just have an idea, like, oh, this is it. These are the things you may see with an autistic kid. So, what were the specific things that your pediatrician had said Wells wasn't meeting?
I did not ask her for specifics,
Okay.
but if I had to guess, I would say it would be maybe while she's checking him, maybe she was telling him certain things and he wasn't understanding.
Mhm.
And maybe she expected him to be able to say a few words,
Right.
but he wasn't. So I'm thinking that's probably it, because he was walking and he wasn't giving eye contact. So maybe that's another thing. So I would say it's following instructions and maybe speech. Maybe those were the things that she saw.
Yeah. So if you're listening right now, sorry, Chibuzo, I'm just letting our audience in on, some people probably have kids and they're suspecting, like, oh, is my kid autistic? Is my kid not autistic? Now, of course, we said it earlier that autism is a spectrum. It's not going to be the same way for each autistic kid. It's going to be different.
Right.
But from what Chibuzo just said, our kid was not understanding things, like it wasn't following instruction. A kid wasn't making eye contact, and a kid wasn't using his words. So if you're experiencing that with your kid, we're not saying your kid is autistic. We're just saying that keep an eye out because your kid may be autistic.
Right.
Right. Go ahead, Chibuzo.
Yeah, so when she told me, first of all, I'm like, what is autism? And then on our drive back home, my husband said, don't mind them. That's how they do in this country. There's nothing wrong with my child, that kind of thing. Typical Nigerian man, there's nothing wrong with my child. And so, of course, a part of me wanted to believe my husband because I did not want anything to be wrong with my child, right? So I ignored them like he said I should. So I did. So we forgot about it. And then on his next checkup, she asked us if we had gone to the regional center. I'm sorry, am I going too far? Like, you asked me what it felt like.
Go ahead, dear sis.
Okay,
And
so
hold on, sis.
that's
Please
what
leave
it
your
felt like.
comments in if you've had experience with this. We want to know what your own journey is like. Even if your kid is not autistic, even if your kid is autistic, let's know what it was like for you, the signs you saw, and how you felt when you got the diagnosis. That's one. Also, even if you don't have a neurodivergent kid or an autistic kid, just let's share some things you've noticed with some kids around you that are neurodivergent. It could be autism, it could be ADHD, it could be OCD, it could be dyslexia, but you can go ahead and share. The floor is yours, Chibuzo. Please go on.
Okay, so when we went back to the pediatrician, she got very upset when she found out that I hadn't called regional center and I hadn't done anything about it. Okay. And so she called the social worker for the hospital and she told them to help us apply to regional center. So that's what they did. And so regional center called us, and that's when the journey began. We went in to do like the initial evaluation, because here in California you have to be 3 to be seen by a psychologist.
Okay.
But I think there's someone who can kind of evaluate in the beginning just to see if you need like early education and all of those things. So yeah, someone saw Williams, evaluated him, and they recommended early like play centers.
Okay.
That catered to neurodivergent children. So we went to those play centers and all of that. But the feeling, that's what you asked me, how I felt, right? So when I got back home and it was confirmed that my husband did not know anything and I should listen to the pediatrician, for me, first of all, it was fear, because like I said, coming from Nigeria, right? When your child has a disability, it's like you're doomed. Like, this is the end of the world. Just give up everything, give up friendship, give up career, give up dreams, and just think about how to take care of that child until you die, right? So that was what was going on in my head. And I started to Google about autism and all of that. And back then, like I said, 7 years ago, there wasn't a lot of people talking about autism on the internet like that. So I didn't have a lot of, there were a few success stories, but I didn't have a lot to draw from, which is again why I started my journey. I didn't have a lot to draw from. So, but I found out things about autism, and it was just so scary and dark, and I would cry and all of that. So I think all the feelings that everybody has ever felt, I felt it at the beginning. Yeah, I felt all those feelings. Like my life will never be the same again.
And that's almost that's when a parent finds out that your kid or their kid is neurodivergent,
Mm-hmm.
there is just this, it's almost unexplainable. Like you just cannot, like so many thoughts coming into your head at the same time. You're
Mm-hmm.
thinking about what's going to happen, what's going to become of this child in future. You're thinking about all the judgments that's going to come with that. You're thinking about,
Right.
oh my God, like, is it my fault? Did I do something? Did I get a vaccine
Mm-hmm.
that I shouldn't get? Did I eat something? You have this guilt, you have the fear, you have the stigma you have to deal with. Plus, with that, you have people telling you that, oh, don't worry, it's going to be okay. Or you have some people, on the other hand, telling you, you're not praying enough for this kid. You are not
Mm-hmm.
doing enough for this kid. So,
Mm-hmm.
you see the struggle? Can you understand the struggle of a
It's a
neurodivergent
lot.
parent?
It's a lot. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Let's take a few of our comments here. We have them coming in. Let's see. Sarah is giving us heart. Thank you, Sarah. T Folami says, yes, we can. Thank you. And then Clevenue says is clapping for us. Thank you. Um, okay, Anitra says, yes, we are super moms. Absolutely super moms. Beyond Braid says, children are different, even those that are divergent. They reach milestones at different time, and it's okay. Absolutely, absolutely. Children are different. Children will get to where they want to get to at the time they want to get there. And it's okay. It's okay whether your kid s- s- is doing certain things at 2 or is doing certain things at 7. As long as you are giving your kid the best care and the best help the kid needs at that point, then that's it. You've done your part. You've done your best. You're challenging your kid the way you can, but you're not abusing that kid to do the things that the kid is not ready for. That is okay. Absolutely. Thank you, Beyond Braids, for that. Anitra says, yes, I think that's one of the things that makes autism diagnosis so difficult when they are young. Absolutely. I agree with you. Or Anitra says, we can relate to that feeling. Um, okay, Beyond Braid said, my first thought is God forbid. See, as an African, you don't do the God forbid like that. This is how you do the God forbid. Do God forbid, bad thing. People are doing it for us now. You like, God forbid. People are doing, God forbid. I reject. Imagine telling your mom that, oh, my kid has autism. Like, don't even call that child that kind of bad name. Don't even.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Absolutely.
Don't
Uh,
try it. Mm-hmm.
Beyond Great says you will question your whole pregnancy journey. Absolutely. You will. From the things you ate, from the places you went to, the water you drank. You know, I didn't take alcohol. Did I take alcohol? Then you're questioning everything you did. Yes. Beyond Braid says you will yes, I've taken that one. Maybe you did something wrong. Yes. Great information for Lake Adeleke. Thank you so much. Thank you all for all your comments. Please keep them coming. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and do so now. Also hit the like button so that we can shoot and share so many people also can benefit from this. Okay, keep the comments coming in. We'll be taking them as they come in. Chibuzo.
Mm-hmm.
So now you know, right? Wells is autistic. The diagnosis, everything.
Mm-hmm.
What was the next step you took? I'm saying not like was it, because some people may not believe it at that time. They may
Mm-hmm.
just want to give themselves time to just, think about it, not worry about it, or deny it's even happening because they're not faced to, which you wouldn't blame parents when they are in there. So,
Mm-hmm.
what was the next thing for you after you confirmed and after those feelings had settled in? What was it like for you, the next phase after that?
I think, luckily for me, I think God just put it in my heart to just look for the best way to help him. I didn't go through well, I guess I did go through the denial stage, which was in the beginning when my husband said, don't listen to them. I guess that was my denial stage. But as soon as we went to the doctors and they confirmed that he needed help, I was like, okay, where are we going? Where do we get this help? So even in the beginning, it was tough for me because my husband still was not on board. So he would not even take us to the centers. So I had to find a way. At this point, I just had Zita. I had to find a way to hold Zita in a stroller and hold my Williams on one hand and take a bus and all of that. So I did all of that to get him to the centers. For me, I was just focused on where do I get help? And every kind of help that they would give me, I would take. So that was my mindset at that time. Like the best way to help him. It wasn't to help him in the sense of to cure him of autism. No, I think at that point I had already come to terms with the fact that this is who God gave me. But like somebody talked about Cobams, coming from Nigeria, if when we see people like Cobams and we're like, oh, he's blind and he can do this. So somewhere in the back of our minds, we're like, okay, someone might be disabled, but if they get the best help, or at least at the back of my mind, that was what was there.
That was
If they get the best help, they might be able to achieve just about anything God has put them on this earth to achieve, right? So for me, it was like, okay, fine, let's start this journey. Let's see what God has put you on this earth for, and I'm going to help you get there.
absolutely very well said, Chibuzo. Um, you made a great point when you said you wanted to get him the best help possible. Can you
Mhm.
specify? Because some parents are like, "Oh, I know that my kid should get help. I'm just not certain where to turn to. What
Mhm.
next?" Can you specifically tell us some of the helps you got and what the impact of that help? How Wales benefited from it?
Okay. So if you're in the US, right? I would say, first of all, start with, do you have a regional center in your area? Because if you do, they would guide you in what to do, right? So luckily for me, we're in California. The regional center saw us, they evaluated him. So they give us like flyers of different places to go to. So places like, there was a place called, forgive me, I don't remember the name, but something family center. And it's for kids on the autism spectrum. So they go there, they play with toys, they play with the rides. They just introduce them to those things because some of them don't even want to like do those things. Like they don't want to engage in those things. So there's other kids there, and then the staff there try to get them to engage with each other.
Okay.
That's one. And then another help that we got was like an early education kind of thing, like a preschool. No, not preschool. Preschool for 3 years old. He went into preschool. That one was for sure. But at this point, it was 2 plus.
Mm.
So like it I don't know what they call the pre before preschool. Yes. Yeah, so the
Before
the
pre-K?
the what?
Is it before pre-K? Are you asking if the one before
Yeah, the one before pre-K.
mm,
Yes.
before
So
pre-K?
what was that?
Pre-K. We'll say
Pre-K.
it's
Okay.
pre-K.
So so they told us put him in pre-K just to get him ready for pre-K, right? So we got that service as well. What else did we get? And then we started to get speech and occupational. So we would go for speech and we'll go for occupational therapy. I think we got ABA when he turned 3, but we got the speech and we got the occupational therapy for him before then.
So we're going to get further into, all those other things and how far Wales has come and all. But for parents right now that are wondering, some parents, you actually, when you have an autistic child, first of all, you know, the truth is you may not admit it, but you know your child is different. Whether it's your first child, whether it's your second child, whether it's your third child, there are certain things that your child will do that you will know that this child is different. Now, whether you accept it or not is it's another matter, but you know. So if you're out there and you know your kid is different, you may not want to get a diagnosis, which honestly, when parents tell me they're scared to get a diagnosis, I honestly do not blame you. I kind of get it. I understand it because just confirming that the kid is autistic alone is almost traumatic, right? Because you know that when that diagnosis come, it's official. This is it. You can't run away. So sometimes it's just better to hide under, you know, we don't know the kid, we're not sure. We don't. But let's just say that you know your kid is different. So diagnosis or not, your kid is different. Accept. Let's start there. Let's just say that we kind of accept that the kid is different. Chibu's always letting you know that it's better to get early help because getting early help will give your kid a fighting chance. Chibuzo, can you tell us when you started getting those help, the occupational therapy, what changes did you see? What kind of things did they do with Wells? And how did it help him? How did it impact him in any way?
Okay. Well, first of all, let me just say, I hear what you say about, the parents knowing, but like with Wells, I really did not know because it was my first child. So
Right.
I really didn't know.
So I
And
kind
because
of
of
feel like
age
you
as
just
well.
see, there's some things that will make you feel like it may not be everything, but you will just wonder why your kid is. It may not be the talking part. I kind of feel like you will just kind of just sense that not autism or anything, but this child is just something, right? You may just sense like there's just something going on with this child.
I think it would depend on the age as well.
Yeah.
Because if your child is small, then you probably won't notice. But then as they grow older, and I mean, everybody has seen a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old, so they know, what to expect. So it would depend on the age as well.
It would depend.
Okay, so in terms of what changes I saw, okay, let me just say this. I did not see changes immediately. It was not immediate. So even when he was getting his occupational therapy and his speech therapy, it wasn't really immediate. I saw them working on him and trying to get him to say things, but it wasn't immediate. And I remember asking his speech therapist, like, will he ever talk? Like the way this is going, I don't think he will ever talk. And the speech therapist was like, the way I see him, I think he will start reading before he starts talking. I'm like, what sense does that make? How do you start reading before you start talking? Like, if you can read, then you can talk.
Oh, everybody.
Yeah, if you can read, then you can talk, right? But what she was trying to say is he'll be able to read the letters in a book, but he wouldn't understand what he's reading. So yeah, in that beginning stage, I didn't really see that much difference. I just saw people trying to work with him. And it was later on that, the difference became more obvious. And it was simple things like getting him to imitate someone, getting him to say a word. Those kind of simple things that in my head I'm thinking, is this the therapy? But those things were really, really important for him because he needed baby steps to get to where he was going.
So those things gave him like a foundation. Okay. Let's take some comments here. We have them pouring in. Sarah says, yes, early help is so important. Definitely gives your child a bigger advantage in succeeding. I agree. Beyond Breed says, yes, there will be that difference, but we'll be saying at the back of our mind that, no, it's okay. I tell you, I feel like for a parent, when we do not want to accept that our kid is neurodivergent, I feel like it's just a safe space we just create for ourselves, just so that we can be in there. Because when we do not agree or we do not accept, for a minute, our life seems normal. Our life seems like it's the way it should be. But you feel like when you accept that my kid is autistic, my kid is neurodivergent, then, it's like everything just sets loose and the abnormality sets in and you've accepted that your life is going to be different. Your child is going to be treated differently. Your child is probably going to be subject to so many things, even you yourself. So yeah, I think it's just that safe space we create for ourselves. But is that safe space may not be beneficial for the kid. It's beneficial for us. It's beneficial because, we are in this, we create this illusion, we try to live in it, but it's not beneficial because, like Chibuzo said, when you accept, or when the seeking help early is important for a neurodivergent kid. It gives the kid the foundation the kid should have, what the kid can later build up on later. Okay, let's take more comments. Beyond Braid says, yes, there will be that difference, but we'll be okay. Yes, we've taken that one. Mine is my first child, and I knew it's different. Chibuzo, I tell you, you would know that this kid is different. I tell you, will know. I mean, when my kids, like, my twin boys, I'm like, is it just because they are my first kids? I'm like, what is going on with these kids? Even if they were my first kids, I kind of just knew. I didn't know. I was like, oh, you know, like, don't worry, they will outgrow it. Don't worry, don't even bother yourself. Don't stress yourself. And you hear all those kind of things. So you're like, oh, there's hope. And then you start hearing, oh, some people, they didn't talk until they were 5. And when eventually they talked, they didn't hear that, they had any diagnosis. It was just a speech delay and stuff. But I kind of feel like if you're a parent of a neurodivergent kid, you will have a feeling that your kid is different. Let's take more comments. Niketolu, he says, the funny thing is most children on the spectrum are highly intelligent. We're going to speak to that in a minute. Absolutely. A lot of them, they may not be math smart. Some of them may be music smart. We saw Kobe. Kobe is music smart. Neurodivergent kids, even the ones that are probably on the extreme side, they would have something about them that makes them different, or that makes them significantly. Okay. So I can't stress enough. We love the Andy show. Thank you, David. David says, I love the Andy show. I can't stress early intervention enough. Absolutely. I am with you, Anitra Nigare. Thank you. Our culture and being Africans too really play a big part on how we see neurodivergence and how we go about it. Absolutely. Folake Adeleke says, lots of parents in denial. Absolutely. So what we are owning on today is parents. We want to talk about how a parent can be selfish. Because it is possible for a parent to be selfish. And it's not like that selfishness, you can blame a parent completely, but a parent can be selfish. One way, I'm going to mention one, and Chibuzo, you can back me up if you have more points. One way a parent can be selfish is, number one, not recognizing that your kid is different. Number two, not getting the kid the help he needs because you're trying to. And number three also is hiding the kid. Hiding the kid. Chibuzo, do you have more to say on that? How can a neurodivergent parent be selfish?
I don't know if you want to say they're selfish, but I get what you're saying. I do. I get what you're saying. Okay, so you said number one, not knowing that they're different. Again, I would say maybe everybody on this panel is smarter than me, but I did not know.
No, it's not.
And I'm sure there are other people that are like me, okay? So right. I did not know. So if a parent truly doesn't know, then they're not selfish. And then number two, you said being in, what would you say? What was it, number two? I know number three is hiding them.
Not getting the kid early help.
Or not getting help. Yes. Well, first of all, is it that they're not getting the help because there's no help to be gotten, or because they don't know where to get the help, or because they know there's help there, but they just don't want to go get it? It depends on why they're not getting the help, right?
You're right.
Because I'm thinking about Nigeria now, right? Because we said Africa. Because in Nigeria, I have a cousin that has a son who hasn't spoken. I think he's 12 now, but 2 years ago she told me he was 10 and he wasn't talking. She's one of the people that would tell me, oh no, pray for your child, don't say he's autistic. She didn't even tell me he was autistic, because I think in her mind she was praying for him, and she wasn't going to speak negative on her child, right? But then she told me at 10 years old that he wasn't talking. So at this point she looked for help. So I don't know, was she selfish? I don't know, you might be right. But when he turned 10, she looked for help, and now he's getting speech therapy and everything. So if she wasn't in denial, he would have gotten help earlier.
Earlier.
That's true.
Right.
So maybe you're right that they were selfish. I don't know.
About being selfish. Please, I'm hoping parents will understand that we're not trying to say selfish like a bad word or trying to attack like you're selfish. No, we're just saying that when it comes to a neurodivergent kid, unknowingly, unknowingly, a parent can be selfish.
Gotcha. Okay.
Left,
Okay.
yeah, it will
Okay.
be left to
Based
each
on
and
what you just said,
yes.
okay, let me speak on that. Yes, you're very correct. Unknowingly, a parent can be selfish. Um, because I think the parent is sometimes thinking about even protecting her child, right? Some parents do it in form of even protecting their children. Like,
Right.
for instance, for me, one of the things that was in my head was people bullying Williams. He was so soft,
Mm,
right? He was so soft. Even his baby sister would bully him. I wouldn't say bully because she's a baby. She didn't know what she was doing. Maybe trying to get him to play, but he won't play. And then
right.
she's pushing, for him to play. He was so soft like that. So for me, I can understand parents trying to keep their autistic children away from other children that might be rough with them and all of that. So yes, unknowingly parents are selfish, and some parents are really, really I would say some parents are knowingly selfish as well. Some parents are
Mm,
thinking more about their own status. Some parents are thinking more about what will people say about me. So I think parents have to get to this headspace, especially parents in Africa. We have to get to this headspace where we're thinking more about what is good for the child. For instance, if I've heard of stories about parents who in Nigeria don't take their autistic children out, and I understand that because when you take them out, some of them are very all over the place or make loud noises. And so it brings unnecessary attention to you and probably negative attention to you and people looking at you funny. So for you, you're like, you know what? I'm not taking him because I don't want all that attention. And you have a
will you
valid
call
point.
that? Would do you think that's being selfish at that point though? Let our audience. Can you tell us though, if you have an autistic kid,
Let me explain why I think it's
go ahead,
selfish.
Bosom.
Okay, let me explain why.
Go ahead.
Because if you have an autistic kid, you want to put his needs first. All
Right.
right. I'm not saying to take him out all the time, but I'm saying to like have a routine where you know that it is important to take your child out, even though he would have those behaviors.
Right.
Because the more you do that, the more you're exposing him to that situation, the more you're giving him a chance to learn that environment, and the more you're giving yourself a chance to even teach him about that environment, because keeping them at home will not do any good. So if you're looking at it from the point of exposing my child over time will help the child be better, then you're not thinking, then at that time you're not thinking about the immediate gain or the immediate side effects of taking your child out because of the bad stares or negative stares and all of that. You're thinking more long term, so you're putting your child first.
Right.
So that's where I'm coming from when I say that we need to put the children first when we make decisions.
Okay.
So you can go ahead and ask the audience what they think.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that. Because what you just said now, we're going to ask, or we're going to have two questions actually
Mm-hmm.
from what you just said. The first one is, um, if I have an autistic kid and I do not celebrate my autistic kid's birthday because I know that my autistic kid is going to act up or is going to look weird, am I being selfish for not celebrating my autistic kid's birthday? Or am I protecting my kid from the stares and everything? That's the first question. Number two question is, so when you let's say for instance you take your kids out, Chibuzo, this question also is directed at you while our audience also contributes in. How do you deal with, because you said, oh, let's take them out, let's expose them, let's do all those things. When you take them out, sometimes some autistic kids would have meltdowns. How
Mm-hmm.
handle the meltdowns, the people staring, the embarrassment, everything? How would you handle that?
Okay, I mean it's a whole that's like a whole therapy session like for months.
Right.
But I'm going to try to summarize it. So when you take your kid out, depending on their behavior, right? If their behavior is that they run around, then you want to practice at home what to do when you go out,
Right.
right? So, for instance, if your child runs around when you get to the store, then you have to go through the process of teaching them, okay, when we're at the store, this is how we behave, or when we're at church, this is how we behave. So if we're at the store, okay, this is how we behave. And then and I recommend doing one thing at a time with your child. For instance, like if I was teaching, when I was teaching Williams how to eat with a spoon, it would be just that. I'm not going to be teaching him how to eat with a spoon and teaching him how to go potty, like
Mm.
potty training at the same time. So
Mm.
just bear that in mind, especially for people in Africa that don't really have the help. They're doing it all by themselves, right?
Right.
So if you go to the store and you find that your child, for instance, is running around, then we want to do like role playing at home where we say, okay, we're going to the store for like 5 minutes. So let's practice how are we going to behave at the store for, okay, let's say 2 minutes. So it might be something like, depending on your child, right? Because it's a spectrum, every child is different. So it might be something like I will go to the store, to Costco, for instance, and buy my bulk items, right? I spend maybe an hour at Costco, but I would go to Target and buy one thing, and it will be 2 minutes grocery shopping. Now I'm going to take Williams for 2 minutes. And I'm going to say, for 2 minutes, we're going to go to the store, and I need you to stand beside me and walk with me for 2 minutes. And we're going to role play that at home and have him practice that. For your child, you may have to start with 30 seconds at home, him just walking around with you for 30 seconds or 2 minutes. And then you go to Target and you role play it at Target, and then they kind of try to do exactly what you guys did at home. So something like that, right? And then if your child doesn't do it at Target, then it would be like a reward system. I am big on reward systems. Like if I can say something like, oh, if we go to Target for 2 minutes and you're with me for those 2 minutes, guess what? When we come home, you're gonna have your iPad, for example, or you're gonna have fruit snacks. One time he was in love with fruit snacks, the gummy bears. So something like that. So it would just depend on the child, but for some people, you may have to do role playing at home,
Yes.
and take baby steps.
Yes. So if there's anything we're learning from Chibuzo today, she's told us number one, role playing. I found out that with neurodivergent kids, role playing works. It
Mhm.
helps. When you before you take them, you script what we're going to be doing. This is where we are going to. When you get there, these are the things you'll meet. This is what you'll see. We are going to get this. For instance, if you know that your kid likes, when he gets to the store, he wants to get everything. We're going to get one toy, just one toy today. We script, the 2 minutes. 2 minutes. We're going for 2 minutes. This is what we're going to be doing within the 2 minutes. We practice at home for like maybe a week or two. Practice going to the grocery. And then when they get to the grocery, we make sure that it's 2 minutes. Do not exceed the 2 minutes. Let them buy whatever it is you're there to buy. And then you go back home. Chibuzo, am I correct?
Yeah, yeah. You don't want to exceed the time, because then they might get frustrated, because in their brain they calculated, okay, I only have to be good for 2 minutes, or I only have to mask my behavior for 2 minutes,
Mm,
which is hard for them, right?
right.
So if you tell them 2 minutes, let it be 2 minutes. Just go in, get the thing, and get out. And
Absolutely.
then over time, increase the time. I
Increase.
mean, right now I go to Costco with Wells. Sometimes it still runs around, but we can go to Costco and shop for a long time together.
Right. So it's helping. Role
Mm-hmm.
playing helps. Baby steps help. And then there was also something you mentioned. You said when you were doing something. So if you have a neurodivergent kid, one of the things Chibuzo has said has been helpful for her is let's do one thing at a time. One thing at a time. One thing at a time. Right now, we're going to be opening the phone lines so that people can call in and share their, let us know, even if you're a neurodivergent person or you have a neurodivergent kid, autistic kid, or you just have family members, friends, or you've had experience with autistic kids before, please call us. The number is 817-935-8734. Again, the number is 817-935-8734. In the meantime, we'll take a few comments and then we will get into answering calls. Okay. Beyond Braid says, let's take this out. I have a lady from Ghana that pulled a child out from receiving help from the speech therapist based on spiritual reason. That's a big one within the African community. Chibuzo, if you'd agree as well, the spiritual context of, oh, if you do that, then you're not applying your faith. If you take your kid that is not talking and you get them help, it means you're not trusting God enough. And that's a big misconception. We should
Oh
understand
yeah.
there is a role Christianity should play in your life, and there is a role common sense should play. And I am a Christian. I see life as spiritual, but I also see that God has given us resources in life to take advantage of, and God has given us the help we need, right? So if your kid is not talking, please, if there is help, get it. You refusing to get it may feel like you're applying some kind of spiritual principle, which is personal to you, but you may indirectly be hurting the kid in the long run because you're not getting the help the kid need. How about we do this? How about you pray, you keep praying for that child, and you also get the child the resources the child needs, and then you can put everything together. Let's include the spirituality. Let's also include the gifts that God has given us, the people God has given us. Let's bring everything together. That's how or that's what I feel like Christianity should be about. I believe we have doctors for a reason. I believe we have surgeons for a reason. I believe in as much as we have pastors as well. We have a caller. We're going to answer this call real quick, and let's see who it is. Hello, this is the Neurodivergent Show. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
Hi, my name is Taggy.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I quite appreciate what you guys are doing on the Neurodivergent Show. And thank you, Chibuzo, also for sharing all of your experiences with your autistic son. I just want to chip in a little about the stigma, because you can't talk about Africa and autism without talking about the stigma, because the stigma is real. My sister, it is real. I remember the early stage when my son used to have a lot of meltdown. I mean, going out was a nightmare. I hear a lot of comments like, "Oh, you have spoiled him." It is because he is the last born. Just give him a younger sibling, he'll stop misbehaving. All of those kind of talk. Some people would tell me, "Bring him to my house for 1 week, and you see how I'll deal with him, and then he will be a better person," and that kind of a thing. And this is the initial stage where I didn't even know what I was dealing with. I've heard the word autism. It wasn't new to me at that time. At the same time, it didn't come in that form. If you understand what I'm saying. In Africa, when you hear about a child having a disability, you see it's a physical thing that you could see.
Right.
And here I am. I have a wonderful boy that started reading at 18 months, even before 18 months. It was reading, writing sentences, and all of this kind of thing. And then come the age of 3, the typical behavior that you would excuse becomes atypical, and that's when it becomes so obvious that I gotta look for help, and the African community, they make it very easy for you to digest, what it is that you have in front of you. Yes, you've gotten the doctor saying it might be because they are not sure. The doctor might not even give you a diagnosis, really. It will just tell you, "Oh, this child didn't meet the milestone." And then here you are trying to figure it out using Google. And then you also have your family members telling you, "Oh, there's nothing wrong with your child. You're just your belief is not as strong enough. You are not a stronger Christian, or you have not prayed enough." All of this kind of thing. So you can't turn to family members, and then you take him out to your friend's house, and it's like, "Oh, what is wrong with your child?" Man, at its early stage for me and my son, it was easier for me to go take him to my white friend's house than take him to an Africa. And I was one of the people that was very grateful for COVID, because COVID time, it means that I had to stay at home and shut myself in. And thank God it was through that time that I had a breakthrough, because then it was intensive therapy for us. It was intensive speech therapy, occupational therapy, ABS therapy. By the time COVID was over, I mean, we were at a point where my son could face, so we could stay in the midst of friends, and everybody could see that, oh yeah, this boy has really changed. But I just want to appeal to the African community to please be patient enough to accept and understand the needs of our kids. You know, yes, they are really, really different. They are exceptional, but at the same time, don't think because we're not addressing the meltdown at that instance because we're spoiling the child. It's because you don't understand at that time, you just can't get through to that child. It's so hard for you to get through to an autistic child when they're having meltdown. It's just better to let him be rather than trying to say grab him, do this and all of that. They even teach us in schools, but helping or telling someone African parent, African person at a time, like just let him be and let him go through it. It's gonna be fine and all of that. It's like, no, you spoiled him. So I just want to use this medium to appeal. Mole, you're doing a wonderful job of trying to get this awareness out for the African community. Sometimes the whispering is there. You go out and you see people nudging their shoulders like, oh, she's come again with a child. You know? So I just want to appeal to you, African community, help us when we are overwhelmed and then our child is having meltdown, accept and not reject them. Because in the beginning, early stage, church programs will even tell me, please don't bring your child. It was frustrating. It was really frustrating. I want the African community to be able to encourage us in our journey to recovery, because it's not an easy stage that we have to deal with this on our own. We don't even have a status quo. We don't even have something to lean on, except for what we read on Google, or except for what we see on TV and all of those kind of things. So it's a new thing for even us parents dealing with this child. So there's so much more I want to say, but just trying to chip in a little bit of my own experience with the stigma. It's still not easy for you to come out. At some point, I had to even engage my church community to say, oh, this is how you treat my child. My child is different, and in this manner. And thank God I got a community a church community that is open to understand and was also able to learn. So thank you so much to the Divergent Show and allowing me to call it full.
Thank you
talk
so
about my
much.
experience.
Thank you so much. We're so happy that you joined us here on the Neurodivergent Show. And thank you for sharing with us. Thank you for helping. Thank you for appealing to the African community to be more tender and graceful, towards the neurodivergent, autistic kids, parents. It's not easy. It's not easy raising a neurodivergent kid. People don't understand it. It's so difficult. And then you still have all the, like you said, the whispering and those things. It makes it double hard. Thank you, Tosin. We're going to run through some of the comments now and round off real quick because we have so many of them. Okay, we took some of this early intervention. I'm with you. Okay, just trying to find where we stopped at. Okay. It might also be hard for the parent to come to term that is who their child is. I agree. I agree with Chibuzo that can be selfish. Absolutely. Taking them out. Okay. Let's do this. Taking them out might not be good. Might not be good for the kids because they are different and they might have hard time blending with the other kids. I agree. I think one way parents can be selfish is by believing they will get better and it will resolve itself. It will resolve by itself and miss out on wonderful opportunities for the kids. I agree. Nigaret says, I think some environments are too overwhelming for the child and you just have to know the trigger. But I don't agree with isolating them. Let's not isolate them. Those are great tips and strategies. Thank you. Communicating every step and everything with your child is so important. You do not want to overstimulate them to absolutely. Baby steps for sure. That's from Sarah. Thank you. It's so hard to get through to a typical child as well. Absolutely. Google makes it worse. Thank you. Okay. When sometimes I'm on the show and I forget that it's past 1 hour already. I want to say a big shout out to our own Chibuzo. Thank you so much for coming out to share with us today. Thank you for all you do on your page. Yo, please, she is William Loves to Learn. Can you
William.
go ahead? Can you tell us more about your Instagram page quickly?
Okay, so it's Williams Loves to Learn.
William.
Williams is the name of my son, but I think in my journey I learned that he does love learning. He just learns differently.
Right.
Sometimes you have to put in more work to teach him that thing, or sometimes you just have to teach it in a different way.
Different way.
You know, so but I think overall he loves to learn, and I believe that maybe not 100%, but I believe that close to 100% of other children on the autism spectrum also love to learn. You know, because some people think that their kids want to be by themselves, they want to be isolated. Yes, autistic children want to be able to be by themselves when they want, but they also want to be able to play with their peers when they want.
As long as they are not.
So we need to be.
We need to
What
find.
was that?
I said, as long as they are not overstimulated or overwhelmed with their environment, then we may need to just take them out a little bit and help them regulate, and then possibly introduce them back. You know, like
what I'm trying to say is.
Go ahead.
What I'm trying to say is, an autistic child sees the other children and sees what they do. They see how children play together and all of that.
Right.
In their hearts, they would love to learn to do that.
Okay.
So I'm saying, do not think that your child doesn't want to learn. Your child just wants to be by himself. Like Williams would play by himself, and he would rather play by himself.
Right.
But I know he also wants to be able to play with his sister. He wants to be able to play with his friends at school for a short period of time. He enjoys his own company, right? But he also wants to be able to learn to do other things. So that's why I called it Williams Loves to Learn, because I feel like that's the case for most autistic children, if not all of them, really.
Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. We're going to take this final question, and after that, we're going to round up. Somebody has a question for you, Chibuzo. She says, one question for Chibuzo, please. How did your husband come to terms and be of help? Can you talk to us about that? How did he come to terms with, the whole autism diagnosis, and how? Go ahead.
Okay, in the beginning of him being of help was just me going by myself. Like I said, I would take the bus and the kids. So after a while, he was like, okay, fine, I'll just take you there. But he still did not believe it, right? So it wasn't even until like maybe 3 years ago, he came home one day and he's like, this autistic thing is really true. I went to visit my friend. My friend owns what's it called? Okay, the friend has an office, but what they do is they give out a staffing agency, basically. So the staff go to help kids on the spectrum. So the friend was telling him about, this autistic child, 20-year-old, who one of his staff is teaching him how to make the bed. And he was like, at 20. He said, yeah, that's, this autistic. So the friend started telling him all them stories about autistic children. And he came home and he was telling me, I'm like, oh, really? So your friend has been able to convince you. So all this while, everything I've been telling you, you did not hear. Plus, the therapy company that we used, they do this parenting program, right? Like before they take on your child, the parents have to come. So one parent can come, but it's advised for two to come. They just need you to come and do a parenting class, just so you know what it entails and what they expect from you. Because they expect you to be there doing therapy. They expect you to learn some things that you will teach your child, right? After they are gone. But he didn't go for the thing. He didn't go for the therapy. So I think that's one of the reasons why he didn't even know what was going on until maybe 3 years ago. Yeah.
So I guess beyond braids, I think what just adding to what Chibuzo has just said now is sometimes you have to start. Just keep putting foot in front of the other. You keep doing the best you can, especially as a mom of a neurodivergent kid. Just it will take time, but others, the support will come. I feel like moms are almost always the best advocates for their kids. It's very stressful doing it by yourself. But if you can, please go ahead and give the child the best help he can get. And, eventually, hopefully, your spouses and other family members will join you. Thank you so much, y'all. This show um, is great, not because of what we do, but because of you. Many of you are sharing this video. You are doing great things. I hear about, like, they said they saw the video here and there. I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for your support. This is way beyond what I hope it would be, and it's because of you. So thank you. Thank you to all our audience. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking. Thank you for all you do to support this show. Thank you so much. A big shout out to our super mom today, Chibuzo. Thank you for being on the show. It's been great having you all. And do not forget, same time, Friday, 7 p.m. Friday, 7 p.m. CST. We're going to be live discussing everything, all things neurodivergent. Thank you. Have a
Thank you.
wonderful
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Bye.
Great having you. Awesome. You're coming back. You're absolutely. I told her, like, you're coming back.
Okay.
We're going to break everything down. This is just like the appetizer. This is like the teaser.
Okay.
We're coming back. And I'm sure that the neurodivergence audience would love to have you. Thank you all and have a good night rest.